Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Today, we're going to be covering House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode Two's Rhaenyra the Cruel. We have two guests that you all have not seen with us, at least live. We have Jeff True Knowledge, and we also have, I think I'm going to call him Dom, but he has the movie nerd. Say hello to everyone.
What's up, guys?
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
So we're gonna get straight into it. We're gonna try to get this all done inside of an hour, if you all are okay with it. So to get us started, there is something that I want you all to see, and then we're gonna get to the opening sequence of the episode. We see the staff of the castle rounded up and searched. King Aegon is emotional and destroying Viserys' model of the Red Keep. Prince Aemon returns to where he and Sir Criston Cole were talking about war plans and found what looks like a gold piece. Alicent, also emotional, less so for the death of her grandson, but more over how his death is affecting her daughter. She's talking to her father, the Hand, when she wonders aloud whether they are being punished. Otto Hightower vows some good may yet come of this. Still, that night, King Aegon meets with his council, hurling accusations, declaring war, and fretting over his legacy. Clubfoot shuffles in and tells Aegon that a gold cloak has been caught with the head of the boy. They caution Aegon not to be so hasty with killing him, as they can get information from the man to determine who actually did this. Aegon then turned his suspicions onto council members. Flipping the script, Otto has a plan that requires the queens to go on display. All right. So, Jeff, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts of the opening sequence?
Well, but I just want let me just say overall that this I felt like this episode was a drop off from episode one. What's up, Andres? So as far as the intro goes, I liked. I mean, obviously it's a really sad situation. What it's very gruesome and grotesque, like the killing of Viserys or whatever, the prince. There's an unsettling tone to the episode, and I enjoyed seeing Prince Aegon like all fired up and whatnot and all that, and all all piss and fire and shit and whatnot, beating up, destroying all King Viserys's handmade shit and whatnot and all that, hitting it with a sword, kind of like manifesting some of maybe the pain he feels towards him, right? Because of him not really being a father to him at all in his life. You know what I'm saying? In all reality, right? Because he really wasn't, Viserys really wasn't much of a father to his children besides Rhaenyra, right? So that's pretty much it. I mean, honestly, there wasn't really much other than are you going as far as going into when Rhaenyra gets the reception of the death?
The reception of the death?
When she receives the information of the death of Jacaerys or whatever,
no, not right now.
Whatever his name is.
Not right now.
Okay, we're not going that far. Okay, no, then I'll save the rest of my thoughts for that. Other than I did find it to be pretty shitty for Sir Criston Cole, to have literally failed his duty and shit, whatnot, and protected done his job, right, and protected that kid. You know what I'm saying? That kid would be alive if he would have.
Well, we all know why, right?
Well, yeah, he was getting some pussy.
Brittany, your thoughts?
He was getting some queen pussy, baby.
So I agree with Jeff. The episode 2 was kind of a drop off. It wasn't as good as the first episode, but I think that episode 2 was setting us up for the storyline of what's going to happen the rest of the season. Okay. Also, all right. I didn't really get why he was so mad at Criston Cole, because there's so many other soldiers that he has why Kristen Cole is the one that he's targeting. I'm kind of like,
Well,
is there
he's
something?
the head.
I
He's
know
the head of
why.
the gold cloaks.
Yeah, but he's only one person. How can he? How he can't be everywhere?
He's smashing his mom.
I think he knows something's going on.
Dom, your thoughts?
All right, opening sequence of this episode. I loved it. I think that it's continuing to do what I love about Game of Thrones and about Song of Ice and Fire storytelling on HBO in general, which is it's just making it all about the characters while also continuing this beautiful display of influence that the Targaryens have over the commoners. And Otto Hightower's utilization of them as a means of manipulating public favor back towards them is once again a stroke of genius, and how that's contrasted with Aegon's honestly very well-deserved temper tantrum. Like, he's got to be only what? Is he even 20 yet? Or like a little older than 20, and his first child's just been murdered, like, which is apparently like just casual at that time period, So I don't know. Like, once again, for a season that's been pretty heavily green so far, I'd say that there's been a much larger emphasis on Team Green than Team Black so far, just when it comes to screen time. I feel like they're doing a really good job of like showing them off individually in a way that they really weren't able to last season, by virtue of the fact that a majority of those actors only showed up in the last 3 episodes of the last season. Like, we didn't get Ewan Mitchell, Tom Glencarney, Fia Sabin until the end of until the last 3 episodes of last season. So the fact that we're actually getting to spend time with those characters is pretty sick, especially when the actors are good enough to really bring them to life. And I also love too, like, kind of a moment that's been overshadowed from this opening sequence, but Aemond and his search and him finding the gold coin underneath the table to signify payment, as far as a means of helping Aegon really.
Found that shot of him holding up that gold piece.
Oh, it's awesome. It was
really
I was
good.
like, oh, we're in for a baller episode, honestly. Like, and as far as it continued the kind of tete-a-tete back and forth of like Team Green and Team Black so far, where it's like, okay, they've heard about this massive war that started, but right now it's kind of just like assassinations back, like just casual like murdering of children back and forth. And now we see in the next episode it's going to like sprawl out into finally like massive conflict, armies clashing with armies and stuff. But good opening. I liked it.
Andres, your thought?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I mean, we're still early in this show, so I don't want to call it as a filler episode. I mean, we're seeing now the other side of Team Green, and the fact that they got this huge blow on Aegon's first child being killed was like really a big shock from episode 1, which was great. And I like that the aftermath they did it. I appreciate that they are focusing on the aftermath so well. Like, I appreciate last episode we were focused on, Rhaenyra's first child, how that impact Team Black. Here, I really appreciate that we had to focus on Team Green. And yeah, I was really happy. And, seeing each character in there, it's very intriguing with the Hightower family, how they cope grief. Like, because we saw how nurture and very family like with the Team Black. Well, here you see Green, you see it's very political. Like, it's like very not like family, like friendly. But we'll get into that, which is going to be exciting to talk about.
Bearer of Men, you didn't get to see the opening that I did, but from the beginning of the episode all up until the first moments that we see the 2 queens basically being ushered out and beginning this processional, your thoughts from the beginning all up until the processional?
Can I also include what I thought about during the procession?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
I kind of really wondered, well, I've been wondering since probably last season, what kind of gifts this queen has, because she is a Targaryen, but she's strange. And she kind of mentioned the rats last time. So I was kind of wondering what her foresight was. during that time, and I liked the episode so far. I liked that they showed that they did grieve and like grieve hard, you know? Because at first I was kind of scared that the mother didn't care because she grabbed the daughter and ran. But it was good to see
Mm,
that she did care. So I'm liking it. I'm liking what direction it's going into right now.
okay. Dom, since you've read the books, what are your thoughts in terms of what's her name, Helena? In terms of
Yeah.
her, I'm going to call them gifts.
It's weird based on the way that Fire and Blood is written, especially given that because it's not a first-person character perspective novel, it's more of a perspective novel written by two unreliable narrators. They don't really delve into it that much other than just that she was kind of weird and had an odd way of uttering phrases that would strangely result in real-world action. So there's no like kind of definitive magic to it, say, that like there was behind Bran's green sight or obviously Daenerys is the Targaryen's natural invulnerability to fire. There's no like kind of explanation for it. It's kind of just there. Like there's no direct explanation for it yet, if you will. At least not yet. I don't know what they're gonna do in the show, but
She has what they call the dragon dreams, Jermaine.
Okay. Okay.
You know, similar to
All right.
similar to her relative that that was able to like to spell out the doom of Valyria. You know what I'm saying? Like and whatnot, and foretell that whole catastrophe, which is how they ended up where they're at, right? They're like visions, whatever, whatnot, and everything. They have to do with their dragon blood, and and all the hocus pocus and magic and everything that goes around with this time period.
Wait, that's where they get their vulnerability from?
their vulnerability to fire, yeah.
Yes,
From
it's
dragon
from
blood?
it's from the mixing of the Targaryen blood with dragons. Some people believe in the lore, right, Dom? That
Something along those lines. Some ancient Valyrian magic hokum, never really fully explained because it goes back super far, but essentially, yeah, it's why dragons are bonded with Targaryens the way they are, because they can essentially smell the fire element, what have you, in their blood. It's kind of was signified in season 7 when Jon pets the dragon for the first time. It's the reason why he didn't get cooked, because the dragon can smell the Targaryen blood in him.
In the lore, that it's heavily rumored that that there was actual they used dark magic to somehow like actually breed between human and dragon or whatever and whatnot and whatever, and that's how the Targaryens actually became like the part of the dragon or whatever. These are just rumors though.
Okay. All right. That last part that you said, that was interesting. That was something that we hadn't heard last episode. All right, so let's get to this second sequence. Let's watch, and then I'm gonna have a couple questions. In the second sequence, Otto's plan seems to be paying off as the small folk seem to share the sympathy of the family. However, this is having a profoundly negative effect on Alicent, but particularly for Helena. The king's guardsman quickly confesses to Lairs Clubfoot. The king then granted him a quick death after learning Daemon Targaryen is who set things in motion to kill his son. Meanwhile, on Dragonstone, Rhaenyra learns of the death of Helena's son through her council. She also learns that the High Towers have paraded the family in a procession. Plans to defend both Dragonstone and Driftmark are made. Rhaenyra wants to write to the realm to let them know she had nothing to do with this. Skeptical, a bannerman said it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume someone would respond in this way given the circumstances, to which Rhaenys later counseled one or both of them to mind their words. Rhaenyra looked at Daemon and realized what actually happened. Privately, she questioned him on the wisdom of his actions and finally admitted she doesn't trust him. It ultimately led to a couple of questions posed by her. Do you accept me as your queen and ruler? Or do you cling, even now, to what you think you lost? All right, Brittany, what are your thoughts about everything that we just saw? I'm particularly interested in your thoughts as it relates to Rhaenyra and her interactions with her council, and also Rhaenyra and her interactions with Daemon.
Okay, so the interactions between Rhaenyra and her council was more of shock that her nephew was murdered. And she's like, how can this happen to an innocent? Because Helena didn't do anything to anybody, and neither did her son. So it's like she's trying to prove to them or convince them that she had nothing to do with it. But then she looks at Damon and she's like, fuck me. This motherfucker has done something that I know he was not supposed to do. He done killed the baby, trying to get revenge. And you could tell in that moment that she knew he did it. You could tell.
And he's a piece of shit husband.
Yeah, he is. He's very selfish and narcissistic. But and then the next part was that the council was trying to, how do you say this? One of the council members, I forgot his name, was trying to give an excuse like, well, if you did do it, we could see why you did it. And she's like, no, fuck that. I didn't do it. I did not do it. I am not a child murderer. Don't put that on me. And then the next part, whenever we look at what happened between her and Damon, you can tell the strain that her power has on him, because he innately feels like it should be his, but at the same time he understands that being king consort, he'll still have power, just not as much. And you can also see that when he tried to control Rhaenyra and get her to go back on the dragon and come out with him, and she's like, you're not the king. So he wants power, but he's not sure how to necessarily navigate that, because I do think he loves Rhaenyra, but I think he also wants to be in power and control.
All right, cool. Dom, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the contrast between the Greens and the Black side, I think, is just phenomenal, given, Otto Hightower's political manipulation versus Rhaenyra still kind of wanting to ultimately play the good person and be like, no, I didn't do this. If anything, the only flaw that I have with this scene is that it takes her that long to realize that Damon's responsible. It's like, come on, like, you're married to the guy. Like, how did you not figure out that he could have possibly been behind this, Especially given her extensive conversation with Visaria later on in the episode. But for right now, it leads to one of my favorite moments of the episode, which is the argument between Daemon and Rhaenyra. It's basically where they're kind of getting everything out, and they're doing what I love to see when two actors argue in any scene, which is both of them are 100% right. Because Rhaenyra's 100% right about Daemon. He's shifty. He's untrustworthy. He's absolutely capable of acting behind her back simply because of the fact that he feels spited by her being in line for the throne, except for him, over him. But Daemon's also 100% right in the sense of, kind of despite his own flaws, everything that he said about Viserys was 100% true. He knew that Viserys was weak ultimately and surrounded by people who were ultimately leading him astray. But that being said, it kind of results, unfortunately, in kind of the beginning of the end of what I call it for Team Black, which is kind of the split between Rhaenyra and Daemon. I mean, come on, let's be honest. It's the only reason why she married him in the first place was because she knew she needed a powerful ally in order to support her against the Hightowers, after she saw the amount of control that they were beginning to exert over her father last season. So Daemon was always more of a means to an end rather than an actual kind of meaningful relationship. It was more of like a girlhood dream, if you will, kind of, the way, I mean, that relationship was always weird to begin with, but and kind of we're seeing it start to fall apart really here. And it's kind of ultimately what leads to the fracturing of the Blacks, because even though they do end up taking King's Landing, they're never the same after it. They're never as unified as they are kind of before this moment.
Thank you, Dom. Andres, your thoughts?
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact that the counselor had the dare to ask Rhaenyra that she ordered that. I mean, they were there. She say, right there, like, I want Aemon Targaryen, his head, right? And, I was kind of surprised, this was kind of coming, especially the way, Damien looked at last episode. So I was kind of like, oh, wow. So, okay. But yeah, so I agree with the one of the directors that directed this episode that, this episode felt very Game of Thrones, like particularly the conversation between Damien and Rhaenyra was very Game of Thrones. I think that was very important because now we're seeing, what Game of Thrones was, last, years, and now we're kind of in now the end game in the show with this. And I love the actors' performance. I mean, Matt Smith and Emma, the artist, is fantastic. They really deliver the dialogue here, and that was probably my favorite scenes and my last favorite line from that conversation was how he say, "You're so pathetic." Such a great burn from Renee towards Damien. So that was really great. I'm just kind of curious, is Damien is going to come back after that argument? But we'll see. But yeah, it's not gonna be good for Team Black.
Bearer of Men, what are your thoughts?
I'd be surprised if he comes back. I really enjoyed the exchange. I loved when it dawned on her. All she had to do was look at him. It seemed like she was engulfed with the idea that that somebody would even think she would kill a child. But when she looked at her husband, it was like, oh, you wilding. You wilding. You're really tripping. Like, you don't do you know what this makes me look like? And she looked like she really wanted to flip out. And I think that it was nice to see her as a full-grown woman tell this uncle that she idolized, the truth about himself. He needed to know that he wasn't trustworthy to his face, not behind his back. I enjoyed it. I couldn't believe that he tried to play down his want for the throne. I was like, he's so manipulative. We know you want him. I mean, you want it. We know. But this ain't how you get it. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
So that kind of led into the next question that I have. So she asked him, do you accept me as your queen and ruler, or do you cling even now to what you think you lost? So this is my question to you all. What is the answer to that question? What is the answer to that question? I'm going to start with Dom. Dom, what is the answer to that question?
Just reiterate for me one more time, just so I can make sure I get the verbiage 100% correct.
Do you accept me as your queen and ruler, or do you cling even now to what you think you lost?
Oh, well, I mean, that answer is super easy. It's just, what's it called? It's the latter. He's clinging now even to the idea of what he lost. It's his complete motivating factor. It's what always drives him. And, yeah, that's what it is. I think Jeff actually had something to say about that too.
Jeff?
No, I want to talk about the whole scene. I never got a chance to.
That's fine. Go ahead.
The whole scene. It's really the small council scene is whatever. Everybody else already kind of talked about it. There's not really much to it to talk about really on my end. This I thought I don't want to. When I said this, I felt like this episode was a drop off. It's episode 2 after the intro episode. It's always going to be a bit of a drop off there. And it is sort of like a setting up episode. I feel like it's a very seriously toned episode, but it's still a good one. Claire Kilner directed it. She did some Gen Z and also Fallout. And she did a pretty solid job, I thought, directing this episode. It was written by Sarah Hess, who's written for Game of Thrones before and Deadwood also, who is a absolutely wonderful TV series. Either way. The square off between Rhaenyra and Daemon is so well acted. Emma Darcy is like masterclass epic with her acting in that scene. At one point, when Daemon gets pissed off and throws his cup or whatnot and rushes her, he goes for her throat, like he starts for her throat, and then holds back. She recoils. You can see it in her face. She recoils. Sees him go for the move for her throat. Yet she reaffirms herself and locks into him eye to eye and stands her ground to him. and everything and whatnot. And it's really sick acting. I had to rewatch the scene a couple times earlier today when I watched the episode. Really great acting. She's great. That's like the two of them at their best in that scene. Probably the best scene I think of the episode. Besides obviously the final battle scene or whatever. But the in the books, it's talked about how Daemon's known for liking deflowering the youngest, most inexperienced girls at the brothels. Like that, he has a reputation for that. For what I understand, this is just from my own research, watching other YouTubers and whatnot. It's noted. I understand, if I understand correctly, in the books that that's his rep, is like going for like the young and experienced, like girls at the brothel and whatnot, and wanting to deflower them. So he's kind of a sadist motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing to be like the prince and be fucking going to the brothels and I'd be going to the brothels too, baby. Why not? They look like a cool place to hang out. You know what I'm saying? I'd be up in that bitch. I'm in there, get after it, right? Fuck it. They didn't have massage parlors back then, so where else would I go? I could go to the massage parlor back then if I was living during that time period. Andres, I'd have to go to the brothel. I don't even know if they even give massages up in that bitch. We'll have to see. Maybe you can take me back there. We can time travel back there, time cop. So we can check out a brothel. What do you think? You can take me back.
He's like, nah.
I want to go to one of those ones where everybody's just openly fucking like right around you and shit and whatnot. Like you're just sitting there,
some eyes wide shut shit right there.
Yeah, like people are fucking right next to you and shit and whatnot. Like, well, hey, what up, bro?
Andres is like, you're not on my level. You're not on my level. In the future, you're not on my level.
Not my level, sir.
Yeah, there was no cool like nudity scenes in this episode, unfortunately, or like anything funny. Really, nothing really to like make fun of. There was no like like Sir Kristen Cole eating pussy to start off the episode or no shit like that, whatnot. We didn't get none of that. So I'm hoping in episode 3 we go back to that kind of shit. We need some more of that. We need some more of that Game of Thrones, open white dudes' penises being shown, exposed and shit like that, all that shit.
Okay. All right. So let's move. So in sequence 3, I want you all to watch this real quick. And sequence 3 is a medley of subplots that are tangential to the overall plot lines. Sir Kristen Cole, understanding his affair with Alicent might have led to the prince dying, sees Eric's cloak as dirty and shames him into getting it cleaned, but later orders him to kill Rhaenyra because of the suspicion placed on him because of his twin brother. Baela, Daemon's daughter, is practicing with her bow when Prince Jacaerys finds her. They speak of their relationships with their fathers, both of his. Prince Aemon is found sowing his royal oats in a brothel where he is also sharing and discussed the fact that he let his temper get the best of him. A townsman who we saw in episode 1 learns his child is still sick. Prices are increasing and hope for relief is waning. Alan and Adam are Lord Corlys's bastard sons and both make a living by the sea. Alan, the eldest, is more tempered in his approach to Lord Corlys, while Adam seeks the opportunity for fortune. Corlys is upset with Daemon's disappearance. Rhaenys reminds Corlys that Daemon is not the king and accepting not having the crown is difficult. All right, so right here, there was a lot going on. Andres, what I would love for you all to do, what I would love for you to do first is I would love for you to pick out 1 or 2 of those scenes that you thought were the most aha moments and just kind of talk about them.
Okay, so my number 1 is the Valyrian's bastard sons. I didn't know that was his sons. I was watching the episode today, and I was like, the two brothers that we just saw in the docks. I was like, okay. I'm shocked right now. I thought they were just random people that what's their names?
Corlys Velaryon, and their names are Alan and Adam of Hull.
Adam and Alan.
Yeah. So Alan and Adam. Very interesting. I'm very curious where we're going to see that storyline going, because that's a lot of implication. Because they
Dragon
could easily,
Dragon Riders, bitch. Dragon Riders.
Well, the one, yeah.
yeah, the one, yeah, so, I mean, of course, his younger brother saw the that dragon that was
Sea smoke.
sea smoke previously from Rhaenyra's husband that was supposed to be dead but is not. But if you've seen season 1, so I'm very curious to see that storyline. Because they easily could go either way. They can easily portray, that house and go to Team Green, or like if he gets that dragon, they need to bring him over to Team Black, and so like because we need that dragon for the war, right? So I can see the possibility that young brother has to come and be the part of this war with Team Black. Plus the fact he wants to have wants to get riches. This is a way for him to get rich and all that. So I'm very curious about that. The big one, the second one is the Cole and
Sir Eric.
Sir Eric scene. That was really interesting. First off, Cole is such a stupid oh, what's the words, like, selfish person ever. Like, he talks about all but like my oath, the oath, and it's like, fuck you, sir. You betray your oath so many times in this show. It's like, it's getting ridiculous. You slept literally twice with the 2 queens of this planet, and you like leave your post twice now, like, and you're blaming, like, now he sends poor Eric, to murder Rhaenyra, and it's like, oh my god, are you so stupid? And I can't believe that Eric allowed him to like do this. It's like, that's so stupid.
He kind of is his Lord Commander. He kind of doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, look. Yeah. I know that. And by the way, it's been 5 days. He's been Lord Commander. Now, like, that's the thing. He's just been a commander just for 5 days, and now he's doing this rational thing that's gonna even escalate the war even faster, folks. So, oh my god, that scene is just like, oh my god, what are you doing, Cole? But anyway, that's my 2 things. I'm done.
Merriman.
My 2 things is related to how dark Christian is. Christian Cole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sir Christian Cole. It's how dark he's become. He started off with so much light, and he was just he wanted to be of so much help, and then he's now one of the darkest ones of them, feeling guilty. And I also wanted to talk about seeing the son with the one eyeball.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
How he and is it Damon?
Yeah.
The uncle?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're the same.
Mm-hmm.
Targaryens keep sleeping with each other and producing the same people over and over again. Just as nutty. He's just as nutty as his uncle. That's why his uncle's threatened by it. And just to hear him say he was flattered, laying up in a whorehouse, coddled up like a baby on her lap. The similarities are spot on. Literally, I just watched one of the first episodes from last season and was like, same moment. Shows up in season 2 with his nephew. Woo! That's all I had to say.
Jeff.
Yeah, that the Aemon and Aegon have serious mama issues. Like, they've got serious mother issues and whatnot because Alicent's such a bad mother, right? That like all her children are fucked up. If you notice that, like all of Alicent's kids are fucked up. You know what I'm saying? In some way, like there's something seriously wrong with all of them, kind of, in a way, almost like like they're off. But Reese Ifans or whatever that plays what's his name?
Otto Hightower.
Otto Hightower. He had an epic episode. This episode, I just want to point that out. Up until this point of the episode, and then throughout it, when he loses his spot as the hand and all that, he had a. This is a masterful episode for him. One of his best, I think, so far in House of the Dragon, probably of his personally. Yeah, I'm with everybody else. Kristen Cole is a fucking douchebag, man. Like sending that dude, like, you know, to go on a one-man suicide mission and shit to go kill Rhaenyra just because Rhaenyra fucked his ass or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And like didn't want to go on the love boat with him or some shit or whatever, or go on the run with him or whatever bullshit he wanted to go do with her, which was stupid to fucking ask her to go do anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like she's fucking like, you know, like Rhaenyra Targaryen, fucking Princess Targaryen and shit. She's not gonna go fucking like live in the fucking woods out in the woods with you and shit, motherfucker. What are you thinking? Come on now, bitch. Like, wake up. You know what I'm saying?
And also think about it. Like, how many years has it been since all of that happened between the two of them and what's going on right now? Like, we're talking about decades.
But that's all the pussy he's gotten though in his whole life, man. You know what I'm saying? Is those two hoes, right? A couple times. Like that's it. So like that's rough, bro. Like that's all he's got to live with. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got very limited jerk. When he goes to jerk off and like in his head, he's got very limited material to work with. You feel me? Like, you know, like there's the catalog it's not deep. You know what I'm saying? Plus he's just like he's just eating pussy sometimes, not even getting laid, right? Like, you know, like just going down on chicks and whatnot.
She had nothing but the old dying king, so you know her. She lacked anything he slings.
Oh, for real, I know. Anything you sling, anybody slinging it like that's not his leprosy ass. 70 years old, whatever, whatnot is A game. But no, honestly, the last thing I'll just say is just that it just shows you how broken and how fucked up Aegon is, that he's got to like find solace in a whorehouse, like in a brothel or whatever, whatnot, with some chick that's like his mom, that's older than his mom, right? Like, you know, like seriously, and I really dug it. We didn't talk about it before, but when Aemon found the hidden passageways in his room and shit and whatnot, and realized that he actually like his mortality was on the line, right? And that like, you know, that they basically just missed him or whatever. That was pretty interesting, I thought. Besides that, I've got really nothing else, sir. I'll move on to the next panelist.
Okay, Brittany, your thoughts.
So I agree with what a lot of y'all are saying. Going back to what Andre said about the two brothers, that was wild. It seems like Adam, that's the older brother, right?
The bald one is Alan. Adam's the younger one with
Alan.
Braids,
Thank you. So Alan seems to be the one that is more in control of his feelings and has more of a sense of self and doesn't have any regret or daddy issues. But Adam seems to be like, he wants acceptance. He wants wealth. He wants riches. He wants acknowledgement. And Alan is like, you don't need all that. We're fine. Let's go home and eat some goat stew and just kick it.
Did you say goat stew?
Yeah, he was eating goats. His brother had cooked some goat stew on the stove or something.
Oh yeah, baby, give me some goat stew.
So I like that part, just to see the two brothers interact. And then going back to what's his name? Aemond. And thank you, Dom. Good job on the names. You holding it down.
Well, listen, in fairness, we would be confusing the names left and right given how freaking similar they all are. So
exactly,
someone's got to do it.
Thank you. Aemond has a fetish, okay? And being a part of the Chesty committee, whoop, whoop, I get it. I've met men like that have fetishes before. And it's really some serious mommy issues.
And what, like big boobs has something to do with it too?
Yes.
He just wants to cuddle up on those big boobs?
Yes, they're nurturing.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So that's what he was doing, because he was like, no, I don't want to do anything in here. I just want to talk. And so
I've seen Brittany's pictures. She's definitely in that category.
Woo woo. I should never have to pay rent. But anyway, they just the fact that he is just so enthralled with talking to her and getting that love that he needs, shows that Alicent wasn't a good mom and wasn't a provider of emotional support that she could have been.
No.
Oh shit, my bad. I didn't realize that you had said my name on top of. I thought that you had said nah in response to that. Wow, I was listening there.
Nah,
Yeah.
I thought the same thing, dude.
Right? I was about to say that threw me off for a second there.
I was
I'm
like, okay,
what?
cool.
Did I hear that right? Yeah, no. There's a lot of scenes to unpack here. I just want to talk about the two scenes that nobody's touched so far, that being Jason Bela and then Corlys and Rhaenys. Jason Bela, yeah, these are two characters that we haven't gotten a lot from, considering that like their role at this point in the story is not super important. Jason's kind of fulfilled his purpose, at least. Like, we have yet to get to his next big storyline. And Bela, honestly, the fact that they're giving Bela anything to do is already more than she had in the books, because like she really didn't have that much to do in the books. The majority that like we have to look forward to is freaking her dragon unfortunately getting ripped apart by Sunfire. And so I like that scene, kind of them talking about like their respective daddy issues. Ultimately, I thought that was like a cool bonding moment, especially because if anybody remembers, they were also engaged to be married. So there's also that thing in there
they
as well.
are too.
Yeah, Corlys and Rhaenys, I thought that was a solid scene. Just those two actors are so good. They're criminally underutilized, but I understand why. They've, like I said, primarily they've stepped back. They're really just providing support to Rhaenyra ultimately. So there's that. Adam and Alan, awesome seeing the two of them together. We got Adam, the next of the dragon seeds in this episode. We actually got another dragon seed that also popped up later on in this episode, but we'll get to him when we get to a later sequence. Adam, like I said, ends up riding Sea Smoke, as you guys can probably figure out from Sea Smoke flying around. I thought that was awesome. I was really hoping there was a little bit of me that I'm like, oh, this scene is so fucking awesome. I'm like, can we just get one scene of Sea Smoke just like landing by him? Because unfortunately, as many people online have kind of pointed out, there's a slight plot hole in the show with the confirmation that Rhaenor, right, Rhaenyra's former husband and Sea Smoke's previous rider, is still alive.
Exactly.
That does sort of complicate Adam's ability to claim him later on during the sowing of the seeds, but I'm sure they're going to have some sort of explanation for that, which is why it doesn't bother me a whole lot yet. And then also you mentioned Hugh Hammer as well, the other dragon seed as well. The dude, we kind of just saw his family life, him trying to take care of his mother and his daughter. I really enjoyed the idea of them introducing the dragon seeds as means of people being affected by the war and like the overall effect that has in the realm, because that's also something that like Game of Thrones at its best did really well. So it's just like they're really killing it as far as like the secondary characters and the introduction of the new characters. I think it's awesome. It sucks because I don't think we're getting Nettles this season, which really sucks because Nettles is like a crucial part as well. Like, all four of the dragon seeds play crucially important parts going forward in the war. So, yeah.
All right. So with that, we're getting into our fourth sequence. Bear of Men, you're up next. Sequence 4 leads to the dramatic conclusion of the episode that starts off with Rhaenyra meeting with the White Worm. Rhaenyra asked who this woman was. After unsuccessfully evading the question, Rhaenyra learned a bit about her life, then realized this was the woman who Daemon attempted to marry when she was a child. She also found out the extent to which she helped Daemon with his plan. While on the beach, Corlys' son, Adam, sees a dragon fly overhead. The small folk find their relatives have been hung by the king. Upset, Otto Hightower demands the king tell him what he has done. Aegon simply says he killed all the rat catchers since he didn't know the name of the one involved. The Hand also learns Sir Criston Cole has sent Eric to Dragonstone to kill Rhaenyra, which the Hand thinks is maddening. The king demands his grandfather give Sir Criston Cole the Hand's insignia. Back at Dragonstone, Rhaenyra decides to set the White Worm free. As she leaves, she realizes the guard who escorted her out of the castle looks amazingly like someone marching toward the castle. All right, so I wanted to save the end of the episode. We're gonna start from what we saw until the last part. So, Bearer of Men, your thoughts about that so far?
The snippet that really caught me was when they had the discussion. Like, it was almost like a woman to woman discussion because they both had slept with him and experienced him. and they both kind of like it's almost like the girlfriend didn't want to say anything. It's
Mhm.
now. I mean, what am I gonna say? Even though she had him first, but I think she always knew he had a fetish for her, you know, because I remember from the first episode only because I refreshed myself today. From last season, she said she can bring a girl in with silver hair.
She did
Isn't
say
it?
that. She did say that. So that one time when he
Yeah,
couldn't his tool wouldn't work or whatever. Something at one
yeah,
time.
he was mad. He just couldn't get himself together. He couldn't, get off.
Couldn't get it up.
But well, he was doing something because she was making all that noise. He was doing something. I think he couldn't finish.
She
That was
used to
my.
that. That's part of her job.
I know, but if you can't fake it like that, you come on now. Something was going on, but I think he just couldn't see it through. He just couldn't see it through. Sometimes you gotta see it through. But
I've been there.
I think we all have, Jeff. I think we all have.
something was clearly on his mind, and so I remember when she said, "Bring in the girl."
Rhaenyra.
Girl with with silver hair, if you want, almost like dangling a carrot in front of him, like I know what you really want. Which also makes me feel like that exchange between those two women was awkward as hell, But I think she tried to talk slick with Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra just had to let her know, like, "Oh, baby, I'm grown now. How'd you get that wound on your neck?" Being slick, being slick. So almost like, don't forget, I know stuff too. Like I know what you're doing. So I just really enjoyed the part of the episode when Rhaenyra was the bigger woman and let her go. It kind of showed the difference between her and her brother, who is insane.
Vindictive, cruel.
Yeah, because when we go back to whenever the hand flips, his granddad flipped out. And he was trying to check him. He really was. He was trying to get in his ass, but he couldn't. He couldn't because in his grief, he wasn't taking that. And plus, that one weird guy, he planted a seed in his head already about like listening to his granddad.
Hilarious.
Lara Strong,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
he had
foot
already
dude.
planted a seed in his head. So that was just like the perfect fucked up situation to just like drizzle some influence in. For the influence to blossom. There it goes. And I just thought like it just showed why Rhaenyra should have been queen and he shouldn't have never been put in his place. But how this will come back to haunt all of them for putting their boy as a king. He was a boy. You made a boy a king who never even wanted to be king and never expected to be king. Now he has power, and let's see how he tears up the entire kingdom.
Andres, your thoughts?
Yeah, so the Rhaenyra and White Worm conversations was very intriguing. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, as Bearman brought up before, that it's a good demonstration how different like Aegon and Rhaenyra are as as rulers, but also how Damien is also different to Rhaenyra. Remember, like they brought up that how she, White Worm was with Damien, but prior, to the years we're seeing right now, and you see how Damien has just basically used both her and Rhaenyra like just as just pawns of the game, really, for the throne, or something like that, And yeah, it was great to see Renee being very smart and very like actual a better leader, letting her go, because it's like, and plus I liked also the White Worm as a character. I like how she's also very strong, and like she keeps her stuff to the chest. Look, she just did what she did to like not only benefit her, but like just being like being smart. It's like I'm not part of this game either. I just did it because it benefits me in the future, and that's what she does. And I just hope the next episode, I hope that she's the one that actually saved Rhaenyra. Like she saw that that wasn't the other brother. I hope that she actually stopped and actually saved Rhaenyra, because look, she Rhaenyra let her go compared to Damien, where Damien just was going to keep her in prison. So I really hope to see that next episode. If not, then that's such a disappointment. Um, and yeah, I knew that Otto was not going to be the hand anymore after Aegon did the whole rat catcher thing, like killing all the rat catchers, uh, which was like ridiculous. And I first thought it was funny to see the dog again, and he was crying for his owner, and I was like, "Come on, dog, that person kicked you, like badly. You're abused. Don't cry for him." Anyway, just saying. I know the dog is not a character of the show, but everyone's complaining about how he was treated last episode. I just need to bring that up. Anyway, but yeah, so as we brought up, Lord stand-ins, put the mind that like you maybe need to replace Otto. The fact that it just happened now is now even more dangerous. And yeah, so I'm just and all the people, and this is the thing that frustrated me. Like, out of all the people, why Sir Cole as your hand? No, don't do that. No, even more doom in this war. Like, oh my god, fuck you, Sir Cole. You should not deserve that higher promotion. Like,
Andres, I just want to say this. I love every moment that you say "fuck you." Just every moment. I love it. Jeff, your thoughts?
They're very few on this one. Just that again, the Otto Hightower scene with Aegon. If we're that far, if we are that far, which I think we are, or we're close to, is absolutely epic. And yeah, Aegon's fucking stupid, man. Like shit's gonna escalate like big time. Once you remove Otto from that small council, right? And it's just Alicent in there, right? With Kristen Cole as the hand, right? We already know that Aegon doesn't listen to Alicent, right? He don't give a fuck what she says. So like she has no influence on him at all.
I don't know if I would go that far. I think depending on the situation. For instance, when they were talking about the processional, and he was just like he didn't want his child to go down that processional. It was she that said, "Hey, I think this is probably the best thing for the realm." He does lean on her, just not a lot.
Sure, it just depends.
But I'm sorry. Please continue.
No, it depends on the topic, kind of. Which area you're talking about. Sphere of influence, with her. But you're right. I agree with you too. Great move by what's her name, the White Snake or whatever the fuck she's called. I knew when she stopped right there what she stopped for, right? That it was because she noticed the brother, right, Eric or whatever, whatnot. I knew right there that she was going to stop him, and that he wasn't going to be successful. Obviously, because when the war, Rhaenyra not going to kill off. Rhaenyra is the main character, basically. They're not going to kill her off anyway. But still, right there, I knew that she was going to gain favor with Rhaenyra and probably stick around longer, right? And what I'm saying, and be a part of the show longer. And that's a good thing, I think. I like her character in the show; she's good. So I think Daemon, that shot of him. There's some really good shots in the episode. That shot of him launching off on his dragon in full armor was really awesome. I think he's going to Harrenhal is where he's going.
Yes.
And
Where
then
he wanna go.
that shot of Alicent in the bath where she puts her head under the water and you see her on camera under the water was really well done too. I thought that was a really good scene. That's all I got to say, sir.
All right, Brittany.
All right, so when the king killed the rat catchers, that was just awful. I could not believe what I was watching. I was like, typical Game of Thrones. I know they were going to give us a little blood and gore, but damn, all of them had to go. Shit. That was intense. And then I felt bad because you see the moms sitting out there crying for their sons. And when somebody came up and was like, what did they do? And she was just like, nothing. He's just worked for the king. And so that kind of shows where people are, the lower folk are looking at the king's mental stability, where he might not be mentally stable. They don't know why he's killing these people. They just know he did it. So that kind of shows a little glimpse of what the lower folks are thinking about him. And it kind of also goes back to what the prostitute said when she was with Aemon, when she was like, whenever your people get upset, we're the ones that are, the lower folk are the ones that are affected by it. And so it kind of shows a little bit of that happening. The next part, when White Worm saw Eric, that I was like, what's she gonna do? Is she gonna just keep on heading out and just think for herself and be out? Or is she gonna come back and try to actually save the queen? And she did it. She actually did what she had to do to save the queen, to lament her space within her court. So I think the White Worm is gonna have a bigger role than what she initially had.
All right, thank you, Brittany. Down.
All right, I know we gotta get out of here soon, so I'm gonna wrap this fast. Yeah, great ending sequence as well. I didn't get a chance to talk about Kristen sending Sir Eric out on the mission in the first place, but I mean, it was setting us up for a baller finale. I called this from the last episode, Duel of the Twins, the next major event ultimately that happens after the beheading of Jaehaerys, and we get that in this episode, and it's fucking awesome the way that it's built up to. Kind of as far as Mysaria and the part that she plays in it, I mean, I'm surprised that nobody else brought this up. The fact that Rhaenyra and Mysaria ultimately bond over the fact that they're Eskimo bros, essentially. I thought that was hilarious, and it's not being talked about nearly enough. But as far as Mysaria, she's played by Sonoya Mizuno, who I don't know how many people recognize that name, but she's been in a lot of stuff that Alex Garland has directed. She's been in 3 separate projects of his, Ex Machina and Devs, and I believe Annihilation as well. She's also in Maniac as well, the Netflix miniseries starring Jonah Hill and Emma Stone. So she's been in a lot of stuff, and kind of her work as Mysaria. One other nitpick that I had is I'm like, okay, so obviously we see that she, Rhaenyra remembers her as being Daemon's paramour from back in the day, but that was back when Rhaenyra was portrayed by Millie Alcock. So it's been how many years, right, since she saw her? And Rhaenyra is clearly aged into a whole different actress versus Mysaria looks exactly the same. Like, exactly the same. And unlike Melisandre, does not have any kind of witchy powers ultimately. So
okay, Melisandre.
Like I just I again, just as the resident nerd who notices everything, unfortunately. And then as well, how she ends up ultimately saving Rhaenyra ultimately, which leads into the Duel of the Twins is just I mean that's just an action in and of itself. But like I'm ready to talk about the Duel of the Twins, honestly, because that was everything that I wanted to be and more.
Yes, it was.
All right, so I didn't have enough time to do this, so I'm going to read this. So I'm going to pronounce it a little different so that you can hear the difference between the names of the twins. Eric gets inside, sees his brother, and takes his helmet off. Rhaenyra tries to go to sleep while her handmaiden is there. Eric, impersonating his brother, relieves the guard and enters Rhaenyra's chamber. Just then, Eric charges in, and the battle royale begins. Rhaenyra orders her maiden to get help, and I'll end there. I had a whole lot more, but we don't have a whole lot of time. Let's start with I forget the order. I'm just gonna go with Bearer of Men. What were your thoughts?
Heartbreak.
Give us more.
How could you send a twin to a situation where he could possibly have to fight his twin?
I mean, that was kind of the point, if anything.
I know.
It was literally the point. It was to punish him, and also, like, because it kind of worked.
And he didn't deserve it. He didn't do anything.
No.
And I really felt like this is when he had, and I think someone said earlier he didn't have a choice. I said he did. He could have chose her side after that.
Yeah.
He could have.
Well, now it's funny because I know that they didn't confirm ultimately, that you don't really know and that they want it to be ambiguous, but the creators of the show did say that it was the good twin, the one that served Rhaenyra, Sir Eric, that survived and then seppuku'd himself. Not the bad one, Sir Eric, that was sent to kill her.
But you have to know, would you want to live with the guilt?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
Of
Which is why I completely
for
understood
someone
the
else?
decision at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody hit the door.
How your brother open the door? But would you really? You wouldn't want to live with that guilt. And plus, think about it. After what happened, Rhaenyra would always think in the back of her mind, did the right twin survive? Can I trust him?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's screwed either way it goes.
Yep.
You messed everything up. If you'd have stayed on your side and I'd have stayed on my side, we wouldn't have had this confusion, but you chose this bullshit ass death mission. Now I got to kill us both. Because I'm not gonna break down on my duty, and you can't expect me to want to live with myself or allow them to have them live with me in doubt after this. And it was just, and he did it like a badass without thought. I was like, damn, he must have thought about this already and had his plan in order in case anybody
While he was fighting. And it begs the question whether or not Eric was thinking the same thing as well. I mean, because he's going into harm's way. He didn't know whether or not he would find his brother. And if that were to happen, like, just, they're twins. He said, we're one soul and two bodies. It's conceivable that they both would have done or thought the same things.
Yeah, exactly.
Andres.
Yeah. I was hoping we were not gonna get this moment, or the part of the moment where we're gonna see maybe these twins to be dead. I was like, yeah, we're like my thoughts was we're gonna be fucked. We're gonna be fucked. Whole episode, and it did, and I was like, oh my god, it was Shogun again. It was Shogun. It's like my favorite character. He was so brave, and then he's like, I'm sorry, Queen, and does this, the boom, and it's like, no. I was like, what the hell? I was so sad. And by the way, kudos to Rhaenyra's handler. Like she was a pro. Like, thank goodness she was like smart as like, I'm getting out of here. Let me get some help. Thank goodness. Great fight sequence. It was well shot. It was well choreographed. I really loved the sets of this season. Like, you could tell they're spending a lot of money. I mean, by the way, Rhaenyra looked so beautiful in this episode. Her look when she was talking to the White Worm previously in that sequence, she looked great. Yeah, such a track. Like, I can't believe it. We got 2 episodes now. They end us in such a big way, and that's something I really like that they're doing, which is great, because sometimes shows don't do that. And I was very happy. At least we got something to like see what's gonna happen, afterwards. So I really enjoyed this. It was a great ending, but it was really sad to see like one of the twins to be dead.
Thank you, Jeff.
I really don't have much to say on this one. I mean, it's a really good fight scene. It's well planned, and obviously it comes from the books. It was well choreographed, like Andre said. The whole episode was well shot. It's a good episode. It was a great ending, and I'm ready for episode 3.
Brittany.
The choreography was phenomenal. I could not believe the way that fight scene went off, where they kept going and fighting and pushing, and you could see the passion, you can see the intensity, you could feel it. It felt like I was in the room with them. I was like, yes, shit, yes, stab the fuck out that bitch. Like, I was so excited. It was intense. But at the same time, it was like the passion that these 2 brothers had for each other, the love, the honor, the integrity that they had for what they were fighting for, what they believed in, was just powerful.
Thank you, Dom.
Man, I mean, it was everything I could have hoped for and more. And what made it really special, I mean, just a special Game of Thrones moment in terms of, like, people brutally hacking each other to pieces, is the human element, as far as like the twins moment, that like no matter what happens from this, we both lose at the end of the day. Like, it was kind of, in a way, this is the payoff to kind of these two being introduced in like the penultimate episode. I mean, they'd been around for the first 8 episodes, but that penultimate episode when they're sent on their mission to find the king by Otto Hightower is just like, and kind of like, and then obviously Sir Eric comes over to Rhaenyra's side after witnessing what the Hightowers do. It was kind of inevitably leading to this moment. And it's one of those, like, there's just something really, really hurtful about when brothers fight in anything, in any context, in any capacity. That's like really especially painful. And this one, especially like the timing of it too, how Eric walks in right as Sir Eric is about to kill her. And then the fight begins. It's just, it's fantastic ultimately. And you're right. There was no other way it could have ended. And it's tragic and it's heartbreaking, but it's what we love so much about Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. It's for moments like this.
So true. All right. So did I get everyone? I want to make certain that I got everyone. I got everyone? Yep. Okay, good. So right now what I want to do is I want to start with Jeff. I want Jeff to talk about his channel. Jeff. Okay.
The MCU's Bleeding Edge. We live stream on Monday nights, Wednesday nights, and Friday nights. Right now we are reviewing this week The Matrix 4 on Friday. Let's see. On Wednesday night, we're reviewing the Acolyte episode 4. I can't wait. The Acolyte's such a great series. It's the best Star Wars I've ever seen. So I can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to review it. It's fucking great.
Fuck you, Acolyte.
I'm loving life with the Acolyte.
Yeah, sure thing.
Shout out to all 50,000 plus subscribers out there. I love all of you. Y'all make me a very happy man when I look at my stats.
Okay, good, great. Andres.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you. This was so awesome to be with you guys. It was really awesome to review episode 2. Hello, this is my channel, Channel Presents. Just recently post. Yesterday.
Star Trek? What?
Yes. This. I did Star Trek 2 years ago. It did very well. Yesterday, me, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Applaud Jeff for helping me out yesterday to do the live stream of Pulp Fiction. It was fun yesterday. Please check it out. It was really fun. I'm going to join with Jeff with the Acolyte episode 4. Hell no, but whatever, it's my job. And I'm my first time going to moderate The Matrix 4. So check out on Friday. That's going to be very exciting.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So just wrapping up content for this week. I'm going to post my movie tribute for Pulp Fiction /review later this week, and wrapping up June. So that's great. Thank you so much, Jermaine and everyone, for letting me and Jeff in for your channel for tonight.
Never a problem, sir. Dom.
Yes, sir. Talking TV podcast. Thank you guys so much for having me on. You guys can follow me. I stream usually only once a week on Sundays, but I'm trying to up that amount now that I'm finished with school. You guys can see my own House of the Dragon recap show that I do on Sunday nights, as well as I'm recapping The Boys season 4 every Thursday after that. So if you guys can check that out, leave a subscribe. That would be amazing. Once again, guys, thank you so much for having me on. This has been an absolute blast.
Excellent. Thank you all so very much for, let me make certain I'm no longer, there we go. All right, thank you all so very much for joining us. Tried to get us in and out in an hour, went over by about 8 minutes, but that's okay. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Subscribe to all of us, all 4 of us. All right, until next time. Oh, by the way, next week you're gonna see us on Jeff's channel, and then obviously we're gonna alternate. All right, until next time, have a good one.
Peace.